Hey, it's your boy Picante Nino coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about guilds. I know that the new season has come on and everyone's starting to try out BDO again. And I know that everyone asks the question, what's the whole point of joining a guild? How do I join a guild? What do people expect when I join a guild? What kind of guilds are out there? So in this video, I'm going to try to answer all those questions for you and we're going to see what kind of guilds are there and which ones would be the ones for you. So let's jump into it. Okay, so let's get into actually talking about why you should join a guild. Honestly, I feel like it's very important for you to join a guild in BDO because number one, joining a guild gives you a lot of benefits such as guild buffs, guild pay, guild events, actually finding information, doing guild bosses, and talking to people spreads information, and knowing about the game makes you a smarter player. And in MMOs, especially this one, knowing about information is key to actually getting very high gear score. You should be wanting to join a guild because the guild buffs alone are just worth it. Not only do the guild buffs stop there, they allow you to teleport to your guild very conveniently. They also have drop rate buffs, they also have life skill buffs, they also have plus additives to your attack speed and movement speed, and so on and so forth when it comes to node wars. So there's just a lot of buffs that guilds provide. And they also do have guild items depending if you do node wars. You get these seals and you can turn them in for extra items. So it's just a lot of stuff that guilds provide. Not only is it the sense of community, but it's also a smart way to go about it if you're trying to gear up in BDO. So another thing too is that we're playing an MMO. MMOs are games that are very social, so you guys should get out there and socialize. As a new player, you should end up starting the game guildless. And as a new player, you should be asking yourself the question, how do I join a guild? Well, there is multiple ways you could join a guild. And I think my favorite way of trying to join a guild is by just simply hitting the G button on your keyboard. The G button on your keyboard, regardless if you're in a guild or out of a guild, should bring up the guild page. So I hit G, and boom, I am bombarded with all these guilds. And you notice the different categories these guilds are in? These are pretty true whenever a guild registers their guild to be. So if you want a PvP guild, you go into the combat ones. So if you just click down and you just read their profiles. And then if you want to look them up, you could also hit escape on the old menu. And there is a guild tab where you could just go here, type in a guild's name, and then you could also see a little bit more information. You could also just like click on a random guild's name. Let's see, example, Red Wolves. And you can click here and it will bring up their banner on their page. It looks very well made. Shout out to Red Wolves. And then you could also click on their guest book. Let's see what other people are saying about the guild. You know? So yeah, this is how you could vet a guild before you even apply to one. So in order to apply to a guild, you just hit G. You go here and then you submit join guild, and it should tell you to type in something. I highly recommend you type in something like a message before you join the guild. So whenever you press this button right here, it's going to be like submit your application. So we could just go right here and we're just going to go here and we're just going to be like, ooh, woo, please add. This actually helps people actually vet you, because whenever you see this, you actually stick out a lot more because no one actually puts a message on their guild application. So that's how you get ahead of the line if you really want to join a guild, via the guild recruitment tab. Another way to go about it is if you go and you look at your chat boxes right here and you enable server group and world. So a lot of people post on the server chat and a lot of people post on the world chat. And right now, in a little bit, I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples of server guild recruitments and world guild recruitments. And we're going to play a little game called Guess What Guild It Is. So yeah, that's how you join a guild. in BDO. So whenever you find a guild recruitment on world chat or server chat, just message them. So you just click on the name right here, and then you just hit whisper, "Hey, I am interested in joining." And that's all you got to do. And the person who is sending out the guild message or recruitment, they will get back to you. Either how to join, how to do anything. So yeah, just have a pleasant conversation via DMs. So right here, we could use this as an example as we speak. So right here, we have Revitalize, small life skilling guild. Cool, whoop. And then we just hit that, whisper, and then say, "Hey, I am interested." And then they should be able to have a small exchange to you via DMs. So that's how you do it. And in order to activate your DMs, you just click here, and then it should tell you which one it is to put in. So yeah, that's how you apply to a guild. Another way to go about it is just through word of mouth and just seeing people. Just seeing people out in open world. Oh, this guy's from Lifestyle. Okay, he has a really cool title. I want to join his guild. And then so you message him, look at his family name, you message him and be like, "Hey, how do I join this guild?" More than likely, people are going to point you in the right direction. BDO is not scary. Joining a guild is not scary. It's very, very simple. The only scary part about it is just finding a group where you vibe with. So just go out there and like have fun with it. Have fun with it. Okay, so there are different types of guilds in BDO. I'm just going to narrow them down to 3 different types of guilds in BDO. Number 1, there's a PVX guild. Life skilling slash open world guild, and then there is the PvP tier 1 guilds, and then there's the PvP tier 2 plus guilds. So we're gonna go over right now what the PVX guilds are. Usually PVX guilds, they have no requirements. Maybe they have a gear score requirement to keep away new players from teaching the game, because there is a lot of guilds that are not trying to teach you how to fail stack and how to play the game, but they do welcome new players. So whenever you join these guilds, if they have a gear score requirement, they just don't want to be teaching you the game. Just to be flat out honest, because whenever you're new player friendly, you get asked the same questions over and over and over again. And whenever PVX guilds have a gear score requirement, that is just solely for newer players to stop asking the same questions. I know it seems a little bit like they're elitist, but no. Like you would know once you get into that. Once people start asking how to do fail stacks, and then once people start asking how to fail stack, everyone has their own personal opinion, because fail stacking is like one of the things everyone does differently. So it goes into this long conversation, and whenever a lot of new players are joining that guild, that question gets asked a lot. So usually people just want to get people in the guild that know how to fail stack already. So whenever you see a PVX guild that has a gear score requirement, just know that they just don't want to be teaching people how to play the game from the ground up and getting asked all the questions that they should already know just by completing seasonal. Okay, so the next thing that is a requirement or a semi-requirement across all guilds in BDO is Discord. You need to have Discord. Discord will help you out a lot when it comes to guilds. I don't know if many guilds have no Discords. I've never known of a guild that runs off of no Discord. And if a guild doesn't run without a Discord, or runs without a Discord, they're most likely just an all-text guild with nothing happening in it. So usually if you want an active guild, they have a Discord. The activity, the requirements for these PVX guilds is usually just logging in once or twice a week. Maybe, guild bosses are a requirement. It's all over the place for this guild. It either could be extremely dead or extremely active. So yeah. Another thing is that there's no node wars, there's no PvP, there's no open world PvP, and usually declarations of war are actually frowned upon. Usually whenever you're in a PVX guild, they just want to lay low and just enjoy their time. So that's what PVX guilds are. They're more about the community and getting to know each other, other than just to min-max and all that stuff. So let's go into the pros. The pros are, PVX guilds or PvE guilds, they're very flexible. They allow you to play the game casually, or even as your second game that you come back to after you're done, getting wrecked in Fortnite or something, and you just want to play a game on the side. PVX guilds are a good place for you because they only care about very limited or minuscule activity. Also, Another pro too is less decks, less open world PvP. Like if you just want to grind all day and not get flagged up on or have to go to a GVG because someone else started a fight and you need to go all the way across the world and end your grind session just so you can fight in this open world GVG, you know, it might be a blessing to you that you're just left alone to your own thing. You could grind as much as you want and be left alone. Another thing too is that they're more community focused. These guys actually care about who you are, not what you are or what you play. They care about you as a person. They don't care about your gear score. They don't care about your class. They care about if you're just a genuine human being, if you have some good morals, or you're just really fun to hang around with. That's what they really care about other than gear and knowing the game. So the cons for this guild, for PvX PvE guilds, there's less content to explore. Activity is either extremely dead or extremely active. It's really hard to tell unless you join the guild, which kind of sucks. So just ask to see if, you know, you could join their guild and test them out for a little bit so you could actually gauge the activity of the guild. The variability of activeness is either high or low when it comes to like people actually logging on, so you just have to figure that out. It's a gamble joining these guilds. It's a major gamble. Another thing too is that the information that these players know is very limited or pretty minuscule. So if someone is talking about future changes to classes and certain buffs and what that means, or a new elixir that comes out, usually these guilds don't have the full picture. It's always the higher tier guilds that have the full picture and some. So yeah, it's more personal based. It helps you get to know people on a personal level other than game based level. And yeah, if this is the type of guild you want, this is it for you. I'm also going to post up 2 screenshots of PvX guilds, so let's go over that. This one says, "Come be part of our awesome guild. We welcome all chumbas. No restrictions, all personalities welcome. Play how you want, no requirements, and they do Garmoth and Veil." I obviously censored out a couple details, but this looks like a straightforward PvX guild. It honestly does look like a straightforward PvX guild. The next one I have is PvX guild. It says PvX guild on it. They have a veteran core, so that means there's a good amount of people who already know how to play the game. They're looking for skilled players, so if you're a brand new player, they probably might not want to teach you the game. And then it says guild buffs. Okay, that's really good. 5 mil a day pay. They do PvP practice, and they have an active Discord / voice chat. So yeah, this might be a guild if you're more social, if you like to fight. So these 2 recruitment messages are pretty spot on to what a PvX / PvE guild would look like. So yeah, whenever you see anything resembling that, that's a PvX guild. Those are 2 examples of a good PvX guild recruitment message. So let's move on. Okay, now let's talk about PvP guilds that are tier 1 guilds. So PvP guilds that are tier 1 guilds, they usually have a gear score requirement, and usually that gear score requirement is around 650 plus, and they have a lot more activeness than PvX guilds. So if you're wondering how to actually join a PvX guild, I mean a PvP tier 1 guild, and you don't know if you actually meet the gear score requirement, a lot of people think that adding these 3 numbers up gives you the gear score. This would actually put me like very high up there. It'll put me in 1,000 gear score. That does not work. In order to calculate your gear scores, you get your highest AP and you add it with your DP, and then that's your gear score. So whenever you're trying to join these guilds, make sure you add your highest AP and your obviously highest DP, which you only have 1. So in order to join these guilds, you need to be active and you need to at least do 1 or 2 node wars per week. So if that hits with your schedule, then yes, they would love to have you. They don't necessarily care about your skill as a PvPer, but it is a good place to learn how to PvP. Tier 1 guilds will teach you how to PvP even though you don't know how to. They actually embrace it when they teach you how to PvP. So they do have a leeway if you're a Zerker or a Witch or Wizard, because those 2 classes are the most sought after when it comes to node wars. Being a Zerker, they will actually, if you're actually a Zerker, you get a lot of leeway. And if you're a caster, you get a lot of leeway too. But Zerkers get a lot more leeway because no one plays the class. Usually everyone plays Witch or Wizard or some type of range class whenever you do node war. So the more of a caster you are, the better. Also, if they don't want to accept you on the spot and you don't have the gear for it, you could also say that you'll help out with defense. A lot of people do not like to do defense in tier 1 guilds or tier 2 guilds or tier 3 guilds and so on and so forth. So if you actually provide that value of running defense or actually being part of a cannon team, they'll actually give you a lot of leeway when it comes to gear score requirements. So if you really want to join a guild and you don't have the gear score, number 1, either main a caster, number 2, play a Zerker, which I doubt any of you guys are, number 3, volunteer to be on defense or on a cannon squad if you want to participate, if you're very low gear score. I'm pretty sure most guilds would actually like take you regardless of your gear score if you just promise to be a like defense rat and just be inside one of the turrets for node wear. I know it sounds very boring, but it will get you your foot in until you actually hit that gear score so you could actually start fighting and learning with people. So another thing about these guilds is that Discord is a must. You cannot have a Discord. You need to have a Discord for this guild. You also need to join voice chat whenever a node war is happening. You will most likely get kicked if you don't join the Discord while a node war is happening and you're participating in it. So it requires you to know a good amount about the game. So it is a good place to learn how to PvP, but it is pretty high up there when it comes to learning the game and how to fight. So it is a lot of responsibility, but hey, that's what you get with a more active guild. So the pros in this is that it's a more active group. There are more open world opportunities such as guild bosses, world bosses, GVGs, open world PvP. It's very growth focused. So like, let's say that you're like, hey man, I'm only 3 bill away from getting my next upgrade. These guys would actually go out of their way to grind with you at any type of group spot so you could get your gain. These guys care about people making gains. They really care about that. So it helps you out too, because they care about your success. Your success is also the guild's success. So they want you to get gains. That's the whole point. The more geared you are, the more ready you are for PvP. This guild also keeps up to date with all the current information of BDO. Not exactly as cutting edge as the siege guilds and the tier 3 guilds / tier 2 guilds. They know everything down to the minuscule micro level of what's going on in the game. Tier 1 guilds, they know the general idea. If you want to keep updated with the game / guild politics and blah blah blah, you know, the tier 1 guild is perfectly fine. So the cons, it's less individual based. These guys don't care about you that much on a personal level. They only care about you and your gains. That's the baseline of what it is. The level of importance depends on your gear. So the more important you are in the guild, that means the more gear you have. I know it sounds mean, but it's just like, hey man, if you're top fragging and you're the highest gear score in the game, in the guild, yeah, of course people are going to say your name a lot more than the 2 gear score Andy that's dying 26 times and getting 0 kills. No one's going to talk about you. So it's just like, that's what you get for being in a competitive guild, because these guys want to win. They need to win in order to keep the funds going in and out. Another thing too is that they can have many decks with people. Whenever you're a part of a PvP guild, people in PvP guilds usually talk smack, either unfriendly or friendly. So the thing is that there might be a couple of guilds that just have a crap ton of decks, and whenever you want to go out there and grind, you might just have to fight a lot of people, man. So yeah, you might just be like swapping servers back and forth until you can find a server where you can just vibe out in. So yeah, let's take on the notes. Can be personal based. It could either be impersonal. It's just a toss up of what kind of guild it is. Most tier 1 guilds, they lean more on the, yes, they care about you as a person, but they also care about your gains more than the actual person behind the keyboard. And then yeah, so yeah, just get to know the game by talking to people. And we're gonna go over a recruitment message right now. I'm gonna post that up right now. It says, looking for active players that love to GVG / PvP. Requirements, 660 gear score. Exceptions for Zerker and casters. Tier 1, they require 1 node war per week. And it tells you the mandatories. Open world, it tells you 1 node war a day per week mandatory. And it tells you they have open world Arsha. They have 615 gear score core, which is pretty high for a guild for tier 1s. They have all guild skills and the leadership, and they also have a Discord, and they also teach you how to PvP, which is perfect. This is a perfect tier 1 group message. Their gear score requirements are about the same of what I have, a little bit above. But yeah, like, these guys are a serious looking guild, man. So yeah, let me show you a guild message that doesn't look too good. So right here, this is a recruitment message that doesn't look great at all. And the reason why I say it doesn't look great at all is because it says, this guild wants you to join us. Casual tier 1/tier 2 guild. No requirements other than join Discord. Veteran core welcoming new returning players, guild bosses, and events. So the difference between tier 1 guild and tier 2 guild is like a whole 50 to 60 gear score. So like, how can you be a tier 2/tier 1 guild with no gear score requirements and you being casual, and then it's also welcoming to new returning players? I feel like this guild recruitment message is all over the place. I don't necessarily believe that they're a tier 1/tier 2 guild, because if you're a tier 1/tier 2 guild and being successful, you need to have at least 680 gear score to be in between both of those brackets. These guys require no requirements. So I'm not going to put them on blast anymore, but these are the messages you want to avoid if you see a tier 1/tier 2 guild, because you want to see the recruitment, you want to see the requirements. You know, you don't want to join a tier 2 or a tier 1 guild that isn't putting their effort into it, because whenever you go into shady / like uninspired guild node wars, they're not fun. Whenever you're going into a node war where they don't know what they're doing and no one shows up, it just feels like you're just getting stomped by a bunch of squirrels, and it just feels like, why even play? So yeah, actually join a proper tier 1 or tier 2 guild with the actual requirements and actually vet them. Go to a couple of them, ask to get merked in if you want to get merked in, and see how they are. So yeah, that's my tip. Okay, so let's talk about tier 2 and above guilds. These are the tryhard guilds. These guilds are very serious and they have a lot of things they want to accomplish because they are the top of the top. So let's talk about them. So whenever you look into a tier 2 guild, it's almost the same as a tier 1 guild, but this is way more serious and way more active. So usually tier 2 guilds, they recruit anywhere from 780 gear score to about 700 and above. So if you're between those two brackets, I'm pretty sure you can find a good solid tier 2 guild. Obviously they have a leeway for some Zerkers and some Wizards. Discord is also a must. And activity is usually 1 to 3 times to avoid getting kicked from your guild. And the reason why I say 3 times is because sometimes you want to do siege and they require you to do siege. And sieges are usually on Saturday. So if you don't have Saturdays off and you're in a siege guild, you're most likely going to get kicked from the game because siege is important. That's the whole reason. Also, these guys make a lot of income and they have fat payouts whenever they do sieges. I think it's like almost up to $1 billion depending on what happens during that siege. So pros, oh yeah, never mind. Before we get into pros, it is very common for siege/tier 2 guilds to have PvP trials. So these guys want to know if you know how to fight already. These guys aren't going to teach you how to fight. These guys are not going to teach you how to rotate buffs. They're not going to teach you how to get elixirs. They're not going to teach you how to gear. They're not going to teach you how to play the class. They just assume that you already know how to play the game at a high level, and so they expect it. And if you don't get in, if you're not playing the game at a high level, they don't want you and they're going to decline you on the PvP trial. It's very common for these guilds to ask for a PvP trial, so don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. So the pros of this is they're very active. They have a lot more open world opportunities. They're very growth focused. I would say they're growth needed. You would actually be kicked if you don't meet some certain growth requirements. I remember back then, I was in Black Rose, and they're like, yeah, if you don't hit a Trigazarga by next week, you're out of the guild, dog. We have like 6 other people waiting for your same position. Yeah, you need to get some gains or else we're just going to kick you. And that might be a con, that might be a pro. I think it's a little bit of both. So one thing that I really like about siege guilds is that these guys know everything. They know all the little mini exploits. They know all the stuff that's broken in the game. They know all the bugs. They know everything, man. Like anything that you know, they obviously don't share too much information because obviously information puts you ahead of other people. And that's why being part of a siege guild is actually like kind of the shit, you know? So yeah, just being a siege guild and you get access to all these information. You have access to all these high tier players. Like everyone in Siege, they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, and that's a really good thing because it helps you keep up to date without much effort. So let's move on to the cons. It's less individual based, like tier 1s, and the level of importance actually it matters a lot in this game and in this guild because they're just not going to talk about you unless you're like 730 gear score, which is like, wow, that is crazy. Let's see. Your gear gains can lead you to a potential kick because depending on the guild, these guilds are very popular to get into, and depending on how good you are, you could just, you know, get kicked. I remember watching a guild, I'm not going to say the guild name, but I 100% was part of, hey man, whoever wins this fight gets to stay in the guild, and whoever loses this fight gets kicked from the guild because we're going to invite this other guy in that has higher gear score than both of you. So you guys have to fight it out, and whoever wins the best 2 out of 3, that's the guy who stays and the other guy we kick. I legitimately saw that, and I was part of that guild, and it was like kind of like, wow, that's how they do it, man. That they go through people. You're easily replaceable. That is another con. You are easily replaceable. So I don't know if it's like that nowadays, but back then when I used to be part of a Siege guild, that's how they did it, man. If they were overflowing, they found any reason to get rid of people and keep the cream of the crop, because if you didn't make any gains, some other people are, and they're just always churning through all the top players. So yes. So usually in these guilds, people don't like to talk about personal stuff that often. Of course, you know, personal conversations come up. You know, like, hey, how's your day doing? Oh, I did X, Y, and Z. Oh, that's crazy. I do this. Oh, I do that. Usually conversations like that are very seldom. They do happen, but what really gets their interest is more about the game talk. Man, the Zerker did me 3 grab combo. I don't know how he did that. X, Y, and Z. Or the Zerker tapped this at this fail stack. Or this sort did that at this place. And how do you do that? So they only care about game questions. They don't care about like what you had for dinner last night. They just care about only talking about BDO and only talking about BDO. So yeah, if you're trying to be part of that and just be completely immersed into the BDO and only talking about BDO, and this is the guild for you. This is definitely the guild for you. I'm gonna bring up a guild recruitment message that I found very that was done very well. So let me pull that up for you guys. So this is tier 2 plus node wars and siege. So that means you're at least doing 2 to 3 node wars. 2 to 3 wars a week. And it says requires attend 1 node war weekly. That says node war, so they're not mentioning the siege. So that means you're doing 2 things that are required: 680 plus and a PvP trial, which is common. 660 for Zerkers, Shies, and Casters. I also forgot to mention Shies, so these guys know what they're doing. Also, look, exceptions for Cannon, Defense, and Elephants. So these guys are actually knowing what they're looking for. They actually make exceptions for people who are on defense, people who play a Zerker or Caster or Shy. So yeah, I would feel pretty confident joining this guild solely off of number 1. It's really concise. Like they're looking very binary at this. Hey, tier 1, tier 2s, okay, you require 1. This is what you need to be an average member. If you fit this criteria, oh yeah, you're a Zerker, a Shy, or Caster. Also debatable if you're going to be into defense, elephants, or cannons, because no one likes to do that. So yeah, these are all the guilds that you could have in BDO. Usually the top 3 that I would categorize every single guild to be part of. So yeah, let me end this video with a message. So the message I want to get out is, don't be afraid to go out and explore and find new groups to play with. Honestly, BDO is a very friendly game. I know it might not seem like it, but yes, it's very beginner friendly. And I just gave you 3 options of what to do whenever you guys are looking for a guild. So I want you guys down below, if you are an officer or any type of recruitment for a guild, please paste it down below. In the comments, I want you guys to post the guilds that you are recruiting for. So that means that other new players could look in the comment section and actually see your guild recruitments instead of going through in-game. So yeah, feel free. I know I don't want to say feel free. I highly encourage you to post your guild recruitment down in the comment section below. So that means newer people could get into the game and join a guild as quick as possible and find their community so they could stick in the game and we have a bigger and better community. So do me that favor. And honestly, just post it down below. That'll help me out a lot. And if you guys feel like throwing a sub my way, that'll help me out immensely. I can't tell you. So yeah, I usually stream on Fridays and Saturdays. And if you guys want to check me out, the links are down below. But yeah, I'm going to reiterate this again. If you have a guild recruitment message, post it down below. And if you're looking for a guild, look down in the comment section first, and then go in-game and see the guilds you have right there. And hopefully you guys, that helps you guys searching for a guild. I know I went into a lot of detail, but this is how BDO is. And I want you guys to know the exact meanings of everything when it comes to these type of things. So with that, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for stopping by. And shout out to everyone who got to the end of this video, because it was pretty long for a pretty simple video. So yeah, have a good one.